¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here with another edition of LatiNation Football Club. I am your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and today, like every week, we have a banger of a show. That's right, we have great news. La gloriosa Liga MX, that's right, it's here in LatiNation. We're gonna start broadcasting the games here in your favorite station, and that's why we're very excited. Not only that, we're gonna be talking about the MLS. Carlos Vela se despidió del LAFC en grande, mi gente, and also NWSL and Nik Z, our very own Champions League specialist, is in Kazakhstan with a preview of the big game of Real Madrid next week. But before we continue, let me say hi to Chiva Mayor, Alex Crespo, my team of trusted collaborators, and here we go, Chiva. La gloriosa Liga MX por LatiNation.
Estamos de manteles largos aquí en LatiNation con la gloriosa Liga MX, donde les traigo el resumen, everything that happened. Let me start with, of course, my beloved Club Deportivo Guadalajara that make a great statement against Necaxa, against Fernando Gago, that ditched him by leaving them and going to Boca Juniors, and then now he's back with Necaxa. Well, he was booed by the entire stadium the whole game. Chivas managed to win the game 3-1. With the youngster Samir getting his debut, and not only that, scoring that 3-1 to secure that victory for Chivas. Chivas is bringing some good style with the youngsters. We love to see that as fans of Chivas, the fact that Milito is believing in the youngsters, and he's putting more and more players from our cantera. That's amazing. But we also go to the El Rival, El Odiado Rival, El América, playing a good game against San Luis. It was a little bit difficult for them. 1-0, Alejandro Sendejas on fire, Marcelino. What are your thoughts on?
I know. America wins. Everybody gets excited. They think that this is going to change. We'll see. There's still a lot of tournament, my friends. Chivas and America winning is always good for the Liga MX. Alex, please tell us a little bit, how is the playoff race shaping up? What are the teams that are already securing their spots, and which ones are, you know, in the outside looking in?
I mean, we got Cruz Azul, Monterrey, we got Toluca, all up in the top three. But I mean, we got Chivas and San Luis down there in 11th and 12th place that are definitely having to fight these next matches and give that their all. So Chivas, do you think that Chivas still has hope? I mean, is this still too early to say that, you know, they're out?
Hermano, it's la gloriosa Liga MX. Anything can happen. You win 3 straight games and you're there back at the playoff spot. So Chivas definitely has an option to making it straightly to the playoffs. And speaking of Toluca and Monterrey, que oso el de Sergio Ramos. They were winning 1-0. In Toluca, they have a penalty kick. He tried to do a panenka. No en México, hermano. Acá sí hay porteros.
La tierra de porteros. Aquí en México se cubre bien la portería. Now, let's talk about Toluca. Toluca is one of the best teams in the last, 20 years in Mexico. Paulinho is on fire. He scores 3 goals. Now, fighting the top of the goal scorer table. Chiva, do you think Toluca takes the championship again and start building a legacy of their own, trying to compete with America in, maybe the second team in a row that goes to 3? What are your predictions?
It's a great question. And we're going to see that Cardoso Toluca back in the 90s where they were el equipo de la década junto con Necaxa. I do see a very strong Toluca with Alexis Vega, Paulinho on fire. I mean, they're the current champions and beating Monterrey 6-2. Monterrey, we're talking about the top teams like Tigres, Monterrey, America. Beating them, I think, was a huge statement that they're on the right path to becoming bicampeones.
And now it's time to talk about the game of the week. That's right. Tigres contra Atlas. Tigres took the victory 2-0. A great game. The stadium was full. Chiva, break it down for us.
I mean, Tigres, I think they have the best, one of the best, because I don't want people to get offended, supporter groups and the entire Liga MX. Playing at a Volcan is not an easy task. I think Atlas did well trying to fight back, but come on, Diego Lainez is on fire. And Ociel Herrera, uno de sus mismos canteranos, scored against Atlas. And unfortunately for Atlas and Coca, Diego Coca is finally well with Atlas after winning El Bicampeonato. They're not doing really good. They've been losing all of their matches.
Talk to me. How are they looking on the table? Is the investment matching their performance?
I mean, 5th place, I think they have a very good plantel para estar en el campeonato. I think that the key to Tigres right now, los argentinos. I'm going to say it. I mean, they have a roster full of argentinos, Argentinian goalie, manager, striker. I mean, it's beautiful. You have to you have to admire it. But I think also with Liga MX, we're starting to see a lot of European players starting to move to this league, and they're adjusting really well. Not so well with Marcial, the French, going to Monterrey, obviously, but then Tigres, I think, are just doing phenomenal. I think they're going to keep this run going. 2-0 Atlas. I mean, Atlas just looked very dominated in that first half for sure.
That's right, but it's time to switch gears because it is time for MLS. And what a game happened this weekend at the BMO Stadium. No porque sea yo fan del LAFC, just like Chiva are, but La Noche de Carlos Vela, the party that was put for El Capitan, the biggest star that has ever been in the black and gold. Chiva, first let me play this photo for our viewers, showing you in your element right there en el tablón con tu gran amigo Rey Misterio. Both of you, more than influencers of the game, my friend. Tell me a little bit of this image that we're looking at. How does it feel to be a symbol of the team?
I mean, for us, it's a medicine for the soul. That's what we call it. Being in the stands, being able to not being there to watch the game, but being there to be part of the game. I think is what we enjoy the most. And it was a phenomenal night overall for all of us. Yeah, it was sad to see Carlos Vela finally giving his goodbye to his amazing career, but it was also a very beautiful moment. It felt back when 2018 started, when everything started with LAFC, and to see Carlos Vela happy, smiling, and promising us that he was going to stay forever here in Los Angeles. I mean, it was just an amazing experience.
Chiva and I, we go way back to the beginning, the very beginning of LAFC. We met when they announced the colors of the team, that then they changed from red and black to black and gold. And since the day one, when they announced Carlos Vela, we knew that he will make a difference for this city, and he became the idol and gave us the championship that we wanted. And it's time to move on to the players that are today on the pitch, because we have Bouanga and we have Son trading hat tricks game after game. I don't want to, get away with the idea, but I think LAFC is the candidate for the title, my friend.
Pasito a pasito, but definitely after Sonny coming to the team, you can see that the team is more together, they're playing better. Bouanga, I think for the first time, he found his perfect partner. I mean, back-to-back hat tricks. They've been changing the papers, Sonny, then Bouanga. Now, let's not forget that Bouanga is now, after scoring nine goals in 1 week, in 10 days, he is a top fighting for la Bota de Oro con ni más ni menos que Lionel Messi, which is, speaking of Lionel Messi, Alex, platícanos un poquito de...
I mean, when you talk about Lionel Messi, it's just goals and assists every game, pretty much. In this last game against New York, a goal and 2 assists. I mean, he brings it every game. They are on a 3-game winning streak, 3rd place right now in the table. I think they are looking a lot better than they were in the past, but you never know. I think that they're going to take this momentum into their next game against Toronto, but we have to see. I mean, what do you guys think?
Toronto is a dangerous team because, in paper, they look like, some of the weakest competition in MLS, but this season they had some very, very surprising results. Chiva, do you think that Miami gets upset on the road?
Of course. Miami, unfortunately for them, defensively, they haven't been doing good, Lionel Messi, DePaul, they're carrying the team, but, I mean, it takes more than two players to make a difference. My question for you, Alex, you think Messi is going to be able to take away the golden boot from Bouanga?
I mean, with the way Bouanga's playing right now, you can't tell. But it is Lionel Messi, and he is, as a player by himself, he does what he needs to do. Inter Miami in general, I can't say enough about, but, I think it's going to be a tight race for sure. Maybe, who knows, Sonny might end up joining that title race too. You never know with the way that they're playing.
At the rate that Son is scoring, he might, squeeze himself into the list. But at this time, Lionel Messi leads with 22 goals and 3 goals less than the competition. Bouanga is sitting at 23 straight seasons, scoring 20 or more goals. This is a player that probably will say goodbye to the MLS very soon and for a very hefty sum. But with that, we close this segment. My friends, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the National Women's Soccer League with Camila Ortiz and Nik Z straight from Kazakhstan with a preview for Champions League. Don't go anywhere. You're watching LatiNation Football Club.
Aaron Rodgers, 2-year stint with the Jets that he'll never want to remember when he goes into the Hall of Fame. He'll just say, please don't mention that. Now he's with Pittsburgh, and he had his best game since Green Bay. Threw 5 touchdowns. Is it 5, right? Am I right about that, Sam? I don't want to screw this up, too. 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, I screwed up again. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers will finish the season as a QB1 in a 12-team league, top 12 fantasy quarterback. Buy or sell.
You know, the cop-out here is he stays healthy at Jets, right? He'll do it. They're not asking a lot, top 12. Purdy's already not going to be top 12, right? He's already going to miss this week, probably another week, maybe as much as 5, they've said. So you knock him out there. There'll be other quarterbacks that get hurt, so you knock them out. I don't think he'd ever get top 5, top 6, top 8. But the 9 to 12, I hate to say it, he wasn't bad last year with the Jets, right? They didn't win games, but he wasn't bad. He had it when he played. He was a good, solid quarterback. You know, he can still sling it. He still can. I'm the first to admit those 4 touchdowns. It wasn't like he had a monster game. A couple of his interceptions were dropped. You know, that should have been picked off there. It seems like passes he did complete were for touchdowns. A couple of breakdowns by the Jets as well. So I don't see him really as going to win a league for you. But I'm going to buy this. If he stays healthy, hell, just give me 15 games. And I think he could be top 12. So I'll buy this.
I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I mean, games against the Browns and games against the Ravens. And look, I don't know if the Jets defense is as bad as they've showed. If it is, then this may be his best game of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I think he's on the outside of this looking in.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club. I am your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and now it is time to talk about National Women's Soccer League y la Liga MX Femenil, and that's why we have our very own expert, Camila Ortiz, with everything that you need to know about these wonderful tournaments that are heating up. Camila, what's happening en el fútbol femenil?
Well, we saw another super exciting weekend in the NWSL. First game I want to touch on, however, is Orlando Pride versus North Carolina Courage. Tell me, did you guys have a chance to watch that game?
Unfortunately, I had, and I continue to see my Orlando Pride dropping points, dropping positions. No quiero que despidan a Marta. She needs to get another championship, guys. Tell me what's going on with Orlando.
Yes, I know, another sad loss for Orlando Pride, who seem to have lost their momentum so far in this season. North Carolina got a dramatic end-of-the-game winner from Koyama in the 89th minute, taking away the 3 points. I think that goal really changed the playoff math. I know, Chiva, you wanted to touch on a little bit about what's going on in the standings right now.
What is happening with Orlando? Marta, queremos despedirla, winning a championship, or at least making it to the playoffs. Orlando, unfortunately, they've been dropping a lot of points. They have Houston, and then they have Louisville right behind them by 2-3 points. They got to get their act together. Otherwise, we're going to see a sad goodbye for Marta.
Yes, exactly. And I'd say that in this match specifically, they were feeling the pressure, and unfortunately, they're crumbling under the pressure. They had multiple chances, nearly scored, but just couldn't break through in the last of the minute. And even though the home crowd was electric, they were in their home stadium, and it was among the highest in franchise history viewership.
That's right. And now is a perfect opportunity to make a connection between Tigres Femenil, that we will be broadcasting their games live here in LatiNation every week. That's right. Because Orlando just bought the most expensive player for NWSL, Ovalle. Talk to us about this player and if that is, the key for Orlando to go back to the top of the table.
Yes, so NWSL just acquired the most expensive player, Lisbeth Ovalle, a fantastic forward, proving for Tigres to be one of the most dangerous players in the league, and hopefully her arrival to Orlando Pride will be able to give them that boost that they need. And you were asking, what does this speak to about the league? I think that it says that the NWSL is consistently growing exponentially. I mean, just this year alone, we are seeing 2 new teams being added to this franchise, and I think that with that, more players are going to be drawn into the NWSL.
Chiva, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of competition between NWSL and La Liga MX. Which of the 2 leagues do you find better position to succeed because we have NWSL growing really fast, adding teams, but on the other hand, we have Liga MX, a very well-established operation that is just mirroring what they do on the male side to the female side, and that seems to be working. What's your take?
Well, we're talking about the best national team con las mujeres, USA. I mean, I think everybody wants to come to America. That's the dream of a lot of players and a lot of people in general. So I see NWSL more well established than the Liga MX, but Liga MX is also growing. We're talking about Tigres that had a campeona del mundo playing with them, Jennifer Hermoso playing for Tigres in America, and you see Cruz Azul putting money in Chivas, not doing bad. And I mean, Liga MX is growing potentially, and I think in 5 years, we're going to see our national team, the Mexican national team, doing way better in the World Cups, but it's going to take time. Right now, NWSL, I mean, to me, they can be one of the top leagues around the world. And very happy to have Angel City here in our city, but I think that definitely NWSL is better than Liga MX right now.
I love that you mentioned ACFC because we have to talk about the local team. They're not doing so well. They're outside of the playoffs. They just sold the most promising player, the homegrown Alyssa Thompson. Camila, do you think that ACFC is not doing enough to fulfill the promise for a city like Los Angeles? Because this team has not qualified yet to the playoffs ever in their existence. The biggest player that they had is gone to Chelsea. What can we expect from Angel City?
I mean, listen, unfortunately, I was one of ACFC's biggest fans in the beginning of this season. I mean, they seem to be extremely promising, but in the last half of this, regular season, they have disappointed me. I'm going to be honest. Like you said, selling Alyssa Thompson, which I think was a blow to many ACFC fans, but it's important to know that the European leagues are a big competitor for the NWSL. We have to talk about it. It seems like give it 5 or 10 years, I'm worried that the European leagues are going to overtake the NWSL because they just have a bit more to offer at this point.
That is the curse that the U.S. soccer is experiencing. The same happens in MLS. These teams grow, they become successful, but the salary cap and the structure of the leagues do not allow for legacies to come. I think it's a good thing because, like we see, parity, right? These both leagues are based on the concept of parity for anyone to have an opportunity to make it to the finals, and that's what's happening. We see teams that otherwise wouldn't, like Thorns, like Seattle.
We have to talk about their game this weekend versus none other than Washington Spirit. It ended in a 2-2 draw with Bethune's header in the 71st minute being a rescue for the Washington Spirit. We have to talk. ACFC is missing critical players. Kristen Press, who is critical to their attack, is out in injury. I think this also speaks to Alyssa Thompson being gone. It's like, who do they have in the attack? And it's really showing in the final third because they're just not able to put enough points away at the end of the day.
Like we said, Shiva, these teams that are very successful on the money side, this is probably the best, most expensive team, financially in the league, yet they have not qualified for the playoffs. Camila, what are the exciting games for this weekend? Where should we be tuning in?
I know I'm definitely going to be tuning into the San Diego Wave versus Orlando Pride today at 7:30 p.m. Orlando is currently sitting in 7th place in the table with 29 points. San Diego is just a point or two behind. Every point really counts now. A draw isn't safe at this point of the season. They need to take it home and get the 3 points.
And now, Chiva, La Gloriosa Liga MX Femenil, what do we have this weekend?
En la gloriosa Liga MX no te puedes perder a los Tigres. Las Universitarias de Nuevo León contra León is going to be an amazing match. Tigres is playing everybody. You cannot miss it here in LatiNation.
That's right, Chiva. And with that, we're going to say goodbye. No se pierdan this weekend este duelo felino in LatiNation. Tigres Femenil versus Club León. But we have to go on a break. Don't go anywhere, though, because when we come back, our very own European expert and traveler, Nik Z, with a report straight from Kazakhstan hasta el otro lado del mundo, with the preparations of a very small but mighty team that will be facing Real Madrid in the very, very end of the world. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here in LatiNation Football Club.
two favorites are still the two favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price, or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Talk to me. Who are some of the guys? What are the keys for a victory here?
Well, Joe, I mean, we have this one player. I mean, it's like having Tom Brady at quarterback in the Super Bowl. We've got Scotty Scheffler. I think the first key is that, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think we should play him in all 5 matches. I'm just throwing it out there. 15 wins in 2 years. We got to get him out there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They know the minutia of game time decisions, when to call timeouts, when to kick, go for 2, and all that other stuff better than the head coaches, because the head coaches aren't watching 30, 35 games like sports fans are between college football and the NFL. All the head coaches are doing are watching game films. They may be watching 30 game films, but they're not watching game management. So the fan does know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquel Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals, 3-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump. And you can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Breanna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club. I'm your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and it is time to talk about European soccer, European football. Champions League is upon us next week, another match day, and it is time that we check in with our good friend Nik Z, who continues his journey around the world profiling the Champions League underdog. That's right, my good friend Nik. Let's go if we can bring him up. He's live from Kazakhstan. What's up? Where you at?
Yeah, that's right. And what a journey it has been, guys. My last stop was Cyprus, profiling Paphos FC, one of the other underdogs in this year's tournament. So from the Mediterranean to deep into Central Asia, feels like I've traveled halfway across the world, because I have. And so will Real Madrid in just a matter of days. Almaty is the farthest east a club has ever qualified from for the Champions League. So to put this whole distance thing into context for you guys, I'm a few hundred miles from Kabul, Afghanistan, or about the same as New York to Chicago. I'm closer to New Delhi, to Kabul, to Beijing than I am to anywhere in Europe right now. And so when Real Madrid make their way over here to take on Kairat, that's going to be like LAFC or LA Galaxy traveling from LAX to London for a single match. So when Kairat played their opener in Lisbon, it set the record for the longest trip in tournament history, nearly 7,000 kilometers. Madrid's flight out here is going to be pretty much the same, a good 9 to 10 hours in the air.
That's great, Nik. Now, tell me a little bit more about Kazakhstan, man. This is so far away from us.
I mean, it's absolutely stunning. I have no words. We are at the foot of the Tian Shan Mountains, a few miles from the border with Kyrgyzstan, China just down the road as well. We are right on the old Silk Road where east meets west. You got Soviet-era stadiums. You got Soviet monuments and buildings with these beautiful mountain backdrops. Football, though, as a sport here is still relatively young, but quickly ascending to being the most popular sport. They love their ice hockey. This is a nation that thrives at the Olympics, in wrestling, in boxing, in weightlifting, UFC. I mean, I've also actually learned about a traditional sport here called kokbar, which is like polo on horses, and you tussle for a goat carcass instead of a ball. So yeah, I think everyone here, as excited as they are about Real coming, are also worried that the match itself doesn't turn into a game of kokbar. Kairat went down hard against Sporting, losing 4-0 on match day 1, traveling halfway across the world, literally just to get steamrolled by the Portuguese. But now it's their turn to host. It's their turn to try and turn their Champions League debut into a true historic Cinderella story, not one of embarrassment, but they got to show up against none other than the mighty Real Madrid, who have more Champions League titles than any other team out there. I mean, and in that, there's this certain poetry that like the newest faces in the Champions League are standing face to face with Real Madrid, the club with more titles than anyone.
Now, how is the team? Tell me about Khairat Almaty and the development of soccer in the nation.
Oh, yeah. So the Kazakhstan Premier League only launched in 1992. It's younger than me, after Kazakhstan became a country following the fall of the Soviet Union. Astana, the club from the nation's capital, became the first Kazakh club to qualify for the Champions League group stage back in 2015. Khairat Almaty are now the second. They're bringing the Champions League back to the country after a decade. This matters because the team itself has a long Soviet history. It was founded in 1954. You see that date all along this stadium here. It matters because the club has spent more of its life as a Soviet team than a Kazakh one. And that's why this matters so much for the country of Kazakhstan, writing this new chapter of independent Kazakhstan sports. Now, they don't play in the Asian Federation. They chose to go with Europe, a harder route, and here they are now clawing their way onto the stage. But all eyes are on Khairat's newest sensation, 18-year-old goalkeeper Sherhan Kalmurza, who made headlines after saving a penalty in Khairat's Champions League debut, which they went on to lose against Sporting.
Now, Nick, the real question right now is, do you think Khairat Almaty has any chance to defeat Real Madrid?
Easy. You know, maybe it's all the fermented horse milk alcohol I drink this morning, but I'm going with Khairat for the upset. Not impossible at all. Hear me out. Madrid, flying over 6,000 kilometers east. Going east is worth for the circadian rhythm. It's going to screw them up. Heavier legs. Jumping 3 time zones into crisp, cold Almaty air. We're in the 50s Fahrenheit right now at a much higher altitude. It's not the Andes, but still it's enough to feel it. Trust me, my head feels like it's going to explode. Khairat have nothing to lose after getting thrashed in Lisbon. Madrid have everything to lose. The embarrassment, the headlines, etc. Madrid play twice in the week before this match. Levante, I believe, midweek, and then Madrid Derby just before they take that long flight to Almaty on Tuesday. Khairat, on the other hand, potentially just one league game on Sunday, and it's local, and they get to sleep in their own beds. Almaty 1-0. There you go. Quote me on that one. Or please don't.
Thank you, Nick. We will quote you. There you have it, Nik Z, all across the world to report to you the latest and greatest stories for Champions League. But unfortunately, we come to the end of the show. My friends, like every week, we want to thank you, the MVP of LatiNation Football Club, for choosing to be with us through this journey around the world, literally. But we'll be back next Friday with the best of Liga MX is now live on LatiNation. Don't miss out. Tune in and watch the very best games live in English. LatiNation Football Club will be here for you. I'm your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and I'll see you next week.
Two favorites are still the two favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Talk to me. Who are some of the guys? What are the keys for a victory here?
Well, Joe, I mean, we have this one player. I mean, it's like having Tom Brady at quarterback in the Super Bowl. We've got Scotty Scheffler. I think the first key is that, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think we should play him in all 5 matches. It's just, I'm just throwing it out there. 15 wins in 2 years. We got to get him out there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Well, stayed right on that center line really till the last moment, curled and
yeah, you always it's so tricky calling those shots because you don't want to hit it on the nose, run it right back. I mean, you would get rid of that red, but you would leave that center line guard. So a little bit cautious there, I think, with that call.
Another guard upcoming.
Yep. Yeah, I think they'll keep guarding until the things in the rocks in the middle move a bit.
Looks a bit heavier coming out of her hands.
Yeah, they're going to have to sweep this one to make sure it's covering the middle.
Big come, but maybe a little bit deeper than she originally planned.